Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation this morning will be delivered by our own Dave Barrett from the Sheriff's Office. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Can we bow in prayer, please? Almighty God, while we are so quick to complain, we so often overlook our blessings. Among these is the blessing of those whom you have put in our way to love us, help us, and work with us. This day we set aside to appreciate those who work so hard to ensure that the people of Tarrant County are well served and this remains a great place to live and work. But in doing so, we would be remiss if we did not stop to thank you for bringing us together as an employee family. We do thank you and humbly ask that you richly bless each employee and their family. We also remember today those who have died in the past year. Kenneth Bridges, Sheriff's Office. Doris Hunt, Juvenile Services. Ronald Knight, District Attorney's Office. James Pryor, Information Technology. Alfredo Mercano Valdez, Sheriff's Office. Jerry Harrison, Sheriff's Office. We thank you for allowing them to be a part of us. Ask your mercy upon their souls and your grace upon their families. Bless us this day and help us to be a blessing to others. In your holy name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, David. We appreciate you coming out this morning.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
What a personal privilege. Among the names of the county family who passed away during the past year, there was at least one omission of which I'm aware, and that was Sandra Nelson from our IT department. We want to lift her up this morning with all of the others who passed in the service of Tarrant County.
You bet. Thank you for doing that. Agenda announcements?
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have several announcements today. The first one is under the Auditor section, item 8B1. This is the release of depository collateral. We do have a revised court communication in your red folder for you this morning. Also, under purchasing, item 8I1. This concerns RFP 2013-066. We also have a revised court communication in your folder also this morning. Several things as it relates to today's agenda, members of the court. First of all, we do have a bond that we're going to ask that you all approve later on. This is for the new Justice of the Peace Precinct 2. Also, as you might have noticed when you came in, they're setting up tents on the front lawn. This is Employee Recognition Day and Appreciation Day, and staff refers to it as Hot Dog Day. So we're going to do that. That's going to start at about noon today. Then also this morning, we're still working the scheduling out, but hopefully at the end of the open session, after the approval of the bond, we will have the swearing in of the new Justice of the Peace. So those are the events that we're looking forward to today. Thank you. Thank you.
This is certainly, it's going to be a busy day. Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of April the 30th.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next, we have a proclamation for Children's Mental Health Awareness Day. And I believe we have, I see Wayne from the All Church Home is here. And we have also, I know you have a lot of other folks with you. So if they would please stand also while you come forward, and let me go ahead and read this into the record. Whereas children are our most important resource, and whereas many children in the United States are exposed to violence and other traumatic events that can result in children experiencing traumatic stress, and whereas traumatic stress can be misdiagnosed as depression, anxiety, or other mental illnesses, and whereas individuals exposed to traumatic stress are at a greater risk than the rest of the population for suicide, alcoholism, drug abuse, absenteeism, financial problems, and physical health problems. And whereas early intervention with trauma-focused counseling and other appropriate responses can lead to recovery from traumatic stress for children, as well as offer a happier, healthier lifestyle and future. And whereas the Mental Health Connection of Tarrant County, in observance of the Children's Mental Health Awareness Day, is launching a new public health awareness campaign, Recognize Trauma, designed to educate citizens about the emotional impact of trauma in young children. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, in observance of Children's Mental Health Awareness Day, encourage the citizens of Tarrant County to visit www.recognizetrauma.org to understand. Did you get that, JD? Got it. To understand the causes and effects of traumatic stress when experienced by young children, and learn ways to lead these children to successful recovery. And further, that we do hereby proclaim May 9th, 2013, as Children's Mental Health Awareness Day in Tarrant County. In witness whereof, I've heretofore set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 7th day of May, 2013, and I'll move its approval.
Second.
We have a motion to second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. I want to thank Wayne. I want to thank you for coming down. I'll go ahead and put that here and present this to you. And I also want to thank everyone else who was a part of this and participated and continues to participate every day in this program. There she goes.
Judge Whitley and Commissioners, I'm here on behalf of the Mental Health Connection, which is an amazing group of professionals working very hard in this community, because we believe that for Tarrant County to be a great county, we have to have high quality and easily accessible mental health services for all of our citizens. We've made great inroads in making that happen in the last 15 years, and I'd like to quickly recognize the folks that are here with me today. Jennifer Farnham with Tarrant County Juvenile Services, Sandra Leidick with Crime Victims Council, Catherine Carlton with MHMR of Tarrant County, Kay Barkin with the Mental Health Connection, Hand in Hand, Kim Garrett with Youth Advocate Programs, Julie Evans with the Alliance for Children, Deborah Caddy with the Women's Center, Becca Meyer with the Women's Center, Janice Lord with the Trauma Support Services of North Texas, Chuck Hoffman with Hand in Hand MHMR, and Shelley McMillan with the Alliance for Children. And the court is also well represented at our monthly meetings by Rita Wester. Thank you, Rita. I saw you.
She's back there sometime.
Okay, very good.
There she is.
All right, there she is. We also want to extend our thanks and gratefulness to you, Judge Whitley, and to all of you commissioners. Our success as a collaboration has been greatly supported by your efforts and your willingness to recognize and support that we're doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And next is one of our favorite times, and especially this month, where we really, this is Employee Appreciation Month. And so, we have the hot dog day outside after our meeting this morning, and so we certainly want to take this opportunity to especially recognize all the employees of Tarrant County who give so much of their time and effort, not only just during the work hours, but I think really go a second mile, whether it be for the food bank or Meals on Wheels or any of the many, many things which you volunteer to help the community, to help out in the community during the year. So with that, I will begin the process of mispronouncing your names. And trust me, there will be a few of you who I will be very successful at during this session. You know the routine. I'm going to start off with the 5 years. You stay standing until I've completed the 5 years, and then we'll again recognize and congratulate that group, and then we'll move on to the next group. So beginning with the 5-year employees, we have Sherry Armstrong from the District Attorney's Office, Ray Barrow from Information Technology, right? Lisa Bureau from the Sheriff Confinement, Marshall Cannon, Sheriff Booking, Lisa Carlton, District Clerk, Preston Cunningham, Sheriff Booking, Christopher Edelman, Sheriff Courtesy Patrol, Lauren Europe, Public Health, Scott Gerlakowaski. Did I get close?
No.
Go ahead and give it a shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was a Constable Precinct 1. I'm sorry, Scott. Melody Gordon, Public Health. Billy Hahn, District Clerk's Office. Allison Harper, District Clerk's Office. Rachel Haynes from County Clerk's Office. Sierra Hernandez, Tax Office. Amanda Livingston, Public Health. Jody Newton, Public Health. Michael Updahl, Sheriff Patrol. Veronica Sayuni, Juvenile Services. I'm assuming that she must not be here because alphabetically at least she knows where she's located. Thomas Sanders, Constable Precinct 1. Elvira Simpson, Tax Office. Michael Southern, Sheriff Confinement. Tracy Schrader, Information Technology. And Sara Van Tassel, County Clerk. These are our 5-year employees. Thank you all very much. Now for our 10-year employees. Christina Chavez, Sheriff Confinement. Janice Daniels, District Attorney's Office. Virginia Garcia, Domestic Relations. Christopher Jordan, Sheriff Booking. Keeman Malone, Sheriff North Patrol. Dottie Pinkston, Tax Office. Mark Porter, District Attorney's Office. Elizabeth Tobridge, Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1. And Mark Wilson, Public Health. Let's give our 10-year employees a round. Now for our 15-year employees. Clarissa Gray, Sheriff Booking. Robert Hooks, Sheriff Inmate Services. Karen Kennedy, Public Health. Eddie Price, Juvenile Services. Dick Wren, Information Technology. Deborah Ralston, Public Health. Ann Vaith, District Attorney's Office. James Warren, Sheriff Confinement. And Rodney White, Public Health. Let's give our 15-year employees. Now for our 20-year employees. Lisa Anderson with the Tax Office. John Arter, Constable Precinct 1. Renee Evans, Public Health. Harold Glass, Sheriff Laundry Supply. Kelly Mulliken, Sheriff Courts. Abel Alvarado, Sheriff Correction Center. Dana Quintana, Sheriff Booking. Janet Rogers, Sheriff Auto Task Force. Les Smith, Administrator's Office. Les. And Donna Williams, Public Health. Let's give these 20-year employees a big hand. And now for our 25-year plus employees. I call and talk with each one of them, and so we're going to spend a little bit more time recognizing them. And the first is Brian Cramer, Community Development, 25 years. Brian started out in our Transportation Department in the right-of-way and then moved over to the Community Development area. He's the Assistant Director over there now. When I asked him again what he liked most, it was, as many of our employees have said, it's the family atmosphere that the county has for really all of its employees. The things that he gets to do out in the community, helping people, working with the different cities and the folks within those cities. You know, he said that he really only, when he began, he really only thought he'd be here for a few years, but that it had really been a great experience. When I asked him kind of what had happened in the last 5 years, you know, he again talked about a lot of the volunteer work. He's especially doing a lot of volunteer work, not work in relation to his job, but volunteer work with Six Stones. He does live out in that northeast area near where Six Stones is located. He said the time has really flown by. He's still taking care of the family. He has 3 children and a 21-year-old boy, I think, is about to graduate, 18-year-old girl, and then a 16-year-old boy. So a lot of adventures still ahead. Brian, we appreciate very much the 25 years you've given us. Next is Hugh Farrell with the Sheriff's Warrants Division, 25 years. Is Hugh here? Is he sneaking in from the back over there? He wasn't sure he was going to be able to make it, but just to kind of, again, if you see him, be sure and thank him for his 25 years of service. He's actually, I said the sheriff's office, the sheriff warrants. That's not true. He moved over in the last 5 years. He's actually moved over to the DA's office and is an investigator in the DA's office now. So I didn't go back and correct my record from the 20-year mark. When I asked him what had happened in the last 5 years, in addition to moving, he's also had a 4-year-old grandson now, and he's got another grandson due in about a week. So he may be at the hospital. So again, when you see Hugh, thank him for his 25 years of service to Tarrant County. Next is Bruce Holman, and Bruce was not going to be able to make it, but he spent 25 years with the IT area, and again, we want to, if you see Bruce, thank him for his 25 years of service. Next is Tim Pickle with the Sheriff's Department. There's Tim, celebrating 25 years. He said he started out in the kitchen of the jail on the 11th, I guess on the 11th floor. Got his peace officer's license in '92. Worked warrants for a while, and I'll give you one of his memories as we kind of move on from there. And he is in SWAT now. He said one of the funniest things that he remembers is during the warrants, they were going out looking for someone, and they found this female. He said she was about 5'5", about 220 pounds, and they found her in a clothes dryer. She was hiding in the clothes dryer.
Oh, my goodness.
So, unless it was a big clothes dryer, that was
Now.
well, I understand. I'm just saying that would have been a tight fit. He said what he enjoyed most is, again, the people that he'd had a chance to work with over the years. He said, the benefits have been good. He said it's just a great place to work. When we talked back at the 20-year mark, his son was in the Navy and was just on his way back from the Persian Gulf, and he was going to be flying to Hawaii to meet his son and to ride back with him on the carrier to ride back from Hawaii to L.A. We were talking a little bit about that. He said it was 8 days, 25 miles an hour. It took a long time. And when you're not working on that aircraft carrier, all you're looking at is a lot of blue. But he said it still was a great experience and one that he wouldn't forget. When I asked him kind of what had occurred over the last 4 years, he said he's now working in the training division. His son's still a firefighter in the Navy, but will be getting out in a few months, and he's kind of hoping he gets him back to this area and can help him get on with maybe one of the departments around this area. Has a new grandson that's about 3 weeks old, and another grandson who's 5, and being a grandparent, there's nothing like that. He's got a daughter who is married to, her husband is actually in the Army, and he's going to be deploying to Iraq later on this year. I believe in October was what she said, and so our prayers will be with him, and we appreciate his service. But we also very, very much, Tim, appreciate the 25 years you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you. Next is Sara Prado with the Auditor's Office. Where's Sara? Okay, Sara, if you're listening, you need to run over here and get in here. Well, Sara, I thought Sara was going to be here. She said that, she, I think, is a little shy. She may be is that her coming in? No. No, that isn't her. But she's been with the Auditor's Office for 25 years. She's in the internal area. She said, I've had some great relationships with the folks that she's had a chance to work with throughout the county, always learning something new. When she came, she originally thought she might be here about 10 years. And so obviously she's stayed on as a long-termer at 25 years now. She said, I still enjoy doing what I'm doing. She said, but the time just seems to be going by faster and faster and faster.
No, that's right.
And we all can relate to that. So when you see Sara, tell her thank you very much for the 25 years of service she's given to Tarrant County. Next is Julia Paputo with the County Clerk's Office. Did I get close to we're going to go to a first name basis here. Most of the first names I can get by. I really have a problem with those last names. Go ahead and pronounce it. Well, see, that's what I would have done, and I kind of missed it on my phonetic spelling, because I know that's not Julia that they're trying to phonetically spell for me. We appreciate you're with the County Clerk's Office. Been here for 25 years. Started out in the criminal area of the County Clerk's Office, and now is taking care of costs and fines, court costs and fines. When I asked her again what she liked most about working with the county, was the caring group of people that she's had a chance to work with, and that they would help you with whatever your needs might be. She's for all the time that she's been here, she's still very excited about working here. She has 4 kids who are now 36, 28. Well, I'm in the cusp of the changes here, and I understand this, but 28, 26, and 16. Since last we talked, she has 4 grandbabies. And she says, I just love the fact that we can spoil them and give them back. She said a lot of things have changed, but things are still great. She has a new supervisor, Jason Peters, which she just, feels is doing a great job. And then she said, she also made comment that she's had a chance to work with Holly Webb. And Holly, I've had a chance to work with quite a bit when she was back in the indigent defense. Is Holly here this morning? Where's Holly? She's in Austin. Holly did us a great job in the indigent defense area when she first started working in that area. And so, but again, Julia mentioned her. And Julia, we just want to thank you very much for the 25 years you've given us. Now, next is Judge Lisa Woodard, JP, Precinct 8. There she is. Been here 25 years. When last we talked, at the 20-year mark, she was the court manager there. And so, obviously, in the last 5 years, things have changed. And we're very glad for that change. And I know you're very, very excited about it. She, when she talked about her memorable moments on the 20-year mark, she talked about Judge Vandergriff and all of the service that he had given and how much she had appreciated being at the county and having an opportunity to serve as he led this county. And we all feel privileged that for those of us who've had a chance to work with him and by him. She said, the county is just the greatest place in the world. She said, when I first came here, I never thought I'd be here this long. But she was elected JP in 2010, took office in 2011. She said, I am absolutely just loving my job. And she also, in the last 5 years, she now has a 4-year-old granddaughter, which will really bring the smile to her face. But Lisa, we very, very much appreciate the 25 years you've given us thus far, and we hope you're with us for many more years to come. Now, next is Judge Brent Carr, 30 years. And just remember, his attire may not be quite what you usually expect seeing him in, but you're going to see him a few minutes or a little while from now out on the stage, because every year he and his group play for us at our employee appreciation, and we very much appreciate that you do and give of your time to do that every year. And that's a job in and of itself. He started at the DA's office, worked there I guess for about 8.5 years, and then was elected judge in 1991. When I asked him about memorable moments, he said it was the opportunity that he had to work with Chris Marshall. And for those of y'all who do not recall, Chris was one of our DAs and was killed in the courthouse shooting. He said every day is a great day. He said I've actually had a chance to really raise my family in the county. And he says I look back and I really feel like I feel a sense of accomplishment at some of the things that he's been able to accomplish. He's very thankful. He said and this was said at the 20-year time, or 25-year time, that he was very thankful for Tim Curry giving him a job. Tim was a great individual and continues to have a large, I think, fingerprint over what goes on in the DA's office and in the judicial system of Tarrant County. Judge Carr is kind of our specialty courts, one of our specialty court folks. He started the Veterans Court. He started the court for our mental health, the high-risk women's program. He's one of the key players in our VetCo, which is an organization that is really focused on helping our veterans as they return from war. He's helped Santa Fe Youth Services. He is a Marine, a retired Marine, but still a Marine, and every year is one of the ones that help organizes the annual Marine Birthday Observance. He teaches a couple of days a week over at TCC in their Northwest campus. And again, as he said, he's raised 3 kids while working with the county, and he really feels blessed to have had a chance to work for the county for all these years. And he said he hopes he's got it. He said, I hope I've got at least another 5 years in me. Well, we hope you have not only 5, but we'd kind of like to have you for a little bit more than that, Judge. And you truly, I think, represent someone who has committed their life to public service, and we can't tell you how much we appreciate everything that you've done for us. Thank you. Now, next is another individual who has really committed, committed the major part of their life to Tarrant County. Danny Roberson, the purchasing department, for 30 years. Danny started in purchasing, has been there, but before he actually came here for purchasing, he worked for General Dynamics. He worked for Bell Helicopter in Iran. He was primarily responsible for construction contracts, and he makes sure that everything kind of stays online here in Tarrant County. He's worked for 3 different purchasing agents. He said, I love being a part of a team and seeing projects done from the beginning to the end. And he said, have enjoyed very much working with the architects and with the contractors, always making sure that the taxpayer dollars are well spent. And, I think that all of our employees do that. You hear talk of places where they'll be at the end of the year and they're really trying to spend all of their budget to spend down. I have never experienced that in a single department within Tarrant County. I think every one of our folks, from the elected officials down to the persons doing whatever their job may be, always tries to watch out for that taxpayer dollar and treat it as if it were their own. And I really believe that that's what is a lot of what makes Tarrant County such a great place to live and work. Danny sent me kind of a collection, I guess, of his comments and his thoughts. And I'm just going to read a couple of excerpts. He said, for 30 years, I've had the privilege to serve the citizens of Tarrant County. He said, some days pass slow, but most days are like lightning speed. He said, I feel like I'm on a vacation every day. He said, I also recall that purchasing approximately 100 million meals for the inmates and officers under the jail food services contracts since 1983. Again, he said, over the 30 years, I've served with 3 purchasing agents, 4 county judges, and 11 commissioners. And Danny, I'm glad that you've been able to weather all of those changes. And we appreciate very, very much the 30 years of service you've given. Again, that represents 795 years of service. And it's again service that's dedicated to serving our public, and that's what we appreciate so much. Now, before I let you go, I'm going to just recognize a couple of other things that have occurred in the last week. One, and again, I think it's reflective of departments and not individuals, but the Tarrant County Clerk's Office received the 2013 Best Practice Award. And that was recently. I know Mary Louise and Jeff both went down, and they're one of only 4 other Texas counties that won Best Practice Awards. So we certainly want to recognize it. Jeff, would you or Mary Louise like to get up and speak a little bit to they're not prepared for this because I didn't tell them it was going to happen.
This was scheduled for next week, Judge, but go right ahead.
Good. I'm glad we got a head start on that.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Well,
yes.
This is going to be in front of everybody.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Judge and Court. We had a great it was a great project, and it's really going to help revolutionize the county clerk's office with our internal website and portal, and all of our clerks are really looking forward to. But I really want to take a moment to thank the IT department. Lori Yanes, Bob Kahn, and Nita Carty were the ones that really were the engine behind this success. So, Mr. Wetzel, shout out to your team, because they really, Judge Whitley, it was IT that helped drive this with our clerks and with Jeff. So thank you, Jeff, and the county clerk. But those IT people did a great job, and so we're grateful we have the award. I think we're on a roll in Tarrant County with best practices, and it's great to be part of this. Thank you.
And then I'd also like to recognize and ask you to please congratulate and District Judge Lewis Stearns, who received the Silver Gavel Award from the Tarrant County Bar Association this past Thursday night for his many years of service to the legal profession and to Tarrant County. So,
I believe it's this coming Thursday night, isn't it? The night?
it may be. For 25 years, let's see. No, let me just read this. As a part of the award, State Supreme Court Chief Justice Wallace Jefferson selected Stearns to oversee the unusual inquiry into the conduct of former, this was something that we recently heard on the, was on the news, Williamson County District Attorney Ken Anderson in 1987. Anderson won a conviction in a murder case against a husband who spent almost 25 years in prison before being exonerated. So again, this was a particularly unique situation that Judge Stearns oversaw. So again, congratulate him on this award that he has received. And with that, there are refreshments in 504C, and I will recess just for a moment while you. Oh, wait a minute. Commissioner Fickus has something he wants to.
For those who want to earn some wow points or just have a good time, in about 10 days we're having it's called the Life Gift Second Chance 5K run or 1 mile fun run or walk. And it'll be at Trinity River Run over right off University, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we've got applications you fill out if you'd like to run on our team. And I've got some team members here, Rebecca, Carolyn, stand up, raise your hand. They've got applications, and we would love to have you. We've had a good turnout for the past 5 years for this run, so it's a fun deal. Thanks.
I would also announce that we've got, this week we have our Senior Synergy Expo modeled after Commissioner Fickus and the very successful program that they've had out in the Northeast area. We have a program over at First Presbyterian this Thursday from 8:30 to 1:30. I would encourage you to come, but we're already filled up. So we're going to have to find a bigger spot next year. We've got somewhere around 500 folks that are going to be showing up for that. And again, I think Commissioner Fickus kind of led the way and has gotten this to where everybody realized it was going on in the Northeast. And this is kind of an attempt to move it over to also have one over on the west side. So we appreciate all the help that your staff and I know others have given to this event as it's up on this upcoming event. And with that, we will recess and no, we're going to do one more thing. I'm sorry. We're eventually going to recess and let you get back to the cookies. You know, we on many occasions will close a court in honor of or in memory of someone who has lost their life as a result of one of our wars. Recently, I guess about a month and a half ago, Dallas had an event against domestic violence. And it was a rally where folks came together to speak out against domestic violence. And, you know, that was their first one. And we began looking at what could we do in Tarrant County. And as we sat down and we discussed this, we discussed the fact that, yes, the events were good, but that if you're basically having an event for, against domestic violence, that probably the people who are coming to that are not the ones that are committing domestic violence. And so one of the things that many of us committed to do was to begin talking about that in environments where, maybe you would find someone who didn't understand that it was wrong for not only really for a man to take and have physical violence against a female or a child, but really any domestic violence whatsoever. What prompted me to go ahead and say something about this morning is again, in the news this past week, you heard about the woman in Bedford who was killed. She was 30, Roxanne Diane Sanchez, and her son, Tony Figueroa, were killed in a domestic violence act. And I think it's important that we as men, but that we as a community stand and say that it's not right. It's never right to hit a woman or a child. It's never right to take it out in the form of violence. And I think we need to take every opportunity to say that in every public opportunity that we have to speak, whether it be in our civic clubs, in our Sunday school classes, because somewhere in there you may find someone who was raised, and what we find all too often is that if someone is raised in a household with domestic violence, then they perceive that that is an accepted behavior. And I think it's very important that we make sure that we say that over and over again in whatever opportunities that we have, that that's not accepted behavior. And maybe you'll do two things. Maybe one, you'll plant a seed in that individual who has been committing domestic violence to seek help, but maybe you'll also plant a seed in a female or in a child that just because I've seen it in my home doesn't mean that that's an accepted way to act or behave. And so one of the things that I would like to ask our court today to do is to close in memory of Roxanne Sanchez and her son, Tony Figueroa, and to begin to plant the seed that domestic violence is something that we can fight, and that as men and as women, whenever we see anything that implies to us, whether it be a joke, whether it be an off-the-cuff comment, whether it be an action, that we say it's not right and that we step in. So with that, I would ask that the court that we go ahead and close today in memory of those two individuals. And now we will recess and ask y'all to please proceed to 504C. And then don't forget, after that, downstairs, out on the lawn, hot dogs and plants. Thank y'all very much. Back to order, and at this time, I'm going to pull something, I'm going to go to the bonds, and we're going to approve the bonds.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have for your approval the bond of Mary Tom Kernott, who as you have appointed as the Justice of the Peace for Precinct 2. The bond is in proper form, and I would respectfully request that you approve it.
Move for approval?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bond. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously, and since we have our new JP in the audience, I'm going to go down there and we'll swear her in, and come on forward. No? Do you want your husband to come forward with you? Would you like to come forward? Okay, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I speak your name.
I, Mary Tom Prado,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Justice of the Peace, Tarrant County Precinct 2
of Justice of the Peace, Tarrant County, Precinct 2
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we got to sign everything so that we can make you formal, and then you can go out and do justice. That's right.
Now, from what I understand, I got to go swear my clerks in immediately so we can get down to business, huh?
That's right, because actually what happens is the moment we swear you in, they can't do anything until you get out and swear them in.
Well, thank you for pushing this up on the agenda. I appreciate that. And for your confidence in me.
Congratulations.
I promise you I
Don't
will.
forget your agreement with Commissioner Johnson.
Right. And no sushi? No sushi, right?
No. No sushi.
Judge Cornett, I'd like to remind you of the rest of that phrase. Do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God.
Thank you.
Great, right.
Thank you.
This is something that's been, this is obviously somewhat unusual. This is, I guess in the 16 years that I've been on the court, this is only the second time where I think we have appointed someone. It was Ron, and then Mary Tom. I think maybe prior to that, there have been some other ones.
I can't remember which ones, but I think there's been 2 or 3 others
Couple
since
of
I've
judges
been
and
here.
some of those. So again, thank you very much, and good luck, and
Thank you. I'm honored to be a part of Tarrant County government.
we're glad to
Good for
have
you.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, court members, you have before you the consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Manius?
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have one item for you this morning. We're requesting that the court approve the Texas Juvenile and Juvenile Case Management System Basic 2013 Resource Sharing Agreement, which is the second one. This is between Dallas and Tarrant County and the Texas Juvenile Justice Department and the Texas Conference of Urban Counties.
Move
approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Why don't you go ahead and kill Commissioner Brooks's. Ms. Tidwell.
We have two items we're asking the court's consideration on this morning. The first is to actually approve the release of the $53,979,000 as collateral as outlined in your court communique.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And the other is to receive and file the quarterly investment report for the period ended March 31st, 2013.
Move approval. To receive and file.
Okay. Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Okay. He received the award last Thursday,
Thank you.
but there is a reception this Thursday.
Thank you.
Well, I just didn't, now that I've told you that you are going to be there by yourself on Thursday night, I want to,
I'm not going to be by myself.
it's from 5:30 till 7 at the Fort Worth Club, so you're there. Ms. Glenn, well, this has been one of those weeks, and it's only Tuesday.
I move to receive and file the personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the personnel agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We have one additional item on the agenda. We're asking the court to approve medical plans available for employee health care benefits in 2014. This is our item that we bring to the court every year, of course, as we consider options for our employees for the following year, which, of course, next year will be 2014. I think I'd like to start by just sort of recapping where we've been the last several months. The court recalls back in March, Diana Konjovic, PEBC's executive director, was here, and she did a pretty lengthy presentation and talked quite a bit about a new option that we will be recommending to the court today for 2014. It's called an account-based health plan. And for purposes of this discussion today, when I talk about an account-based health plan, what I'm referring to is a high-deductible health plan with a health savings account that sits right beside it. This kind of a medical plan, an account-based health plan, is a plan that's been shown to control costs by helping employees, assisting employees with changing their behavior. So shortly after Diana left, the PEBC board met in April, and again, after some discussions and questions, did in fact recommend that the participating PEBC agencies adopt for 2014 two plans, which we'll talk about in a little bit of detail in a minute. The first is the account-based health plan, or the high-deductible health plan with a health savings account. That plan would replace the EPO plan for 2014. The second recommendation is that we adopt for 2014 what we're calling an enhanced PPO plan. So I think the best way in just a few minutes, discuss with the court, show the court what those plans look like. If you will flip to your Exhibit A. And I do have extra copies here behind me if anybody in the audience would like to follow along. So your Exhibit A provides you with quite a bit of detailed information on the two plans, the enhanced PPO plan for 2014, the high deductible health plan. Those plans are actually described in the far two right columns of your handout. You see in the blue headers at the top, the PPO enhanced plan and the high deductible health plan. To the left of those columns, the far left, just a description of some of the services. And then to the right of that, the current PPO plan, the plan that we offer is one of our medical choices in 2013. We provided you that column, the current PPO plan, so that we can compare and contrast what that plan looks like when you compare it and contrast it against the enhanced PPO plan, which again is the plan that we're going to be recommending for 2014. What I'd like to direct your attention to are first the benefits that are, or the services that are going to be covered exactly the same way. So if you look down your grid of services, you'll see preventative care. It's probably the fourth item down. Today, in the PPO plan, the plan covers that at 100%. In 2014, the enhanced PPO plan will cover the same services at 100%, so no change there. You see the 80-20 coinsurance, and we'll talk in a minute about coinsurance. Again, no change for 2014. You see today, with our PPO plan, office visits, PCP visits are $25. Specialty visits and urgent copays are $30. No change being proposed there for 2014. You'll see prescription drugs. You see the copays listed. Again, no changes for the 2014 plan. What you will notice is that where there are differences today, the PPO plan has an annual deductible that you see there in that first column. We have a $500 individual deductible, a $1,000 family deductible. With the enhanced PPO plan, what we are actually proposing to reduce those deductibles to $300 per individual and $600 per family. With the out-of-pocket maximum, which is just a couple of blocks down, or a couple of boxes down, you'll see the out-of-pocket maximum currently is $3,500 per individual, $7,000 per family. In 2014, the individual out-of-pocket copay goes to $3,300, a reduction of $200, and the family out-of-pocket max goes from $7,000 to $6,600 for the family. The other thing that's really critical to note is that with the enhanced PPO plan in 2014, medical and prescription copays will count against the out-of-pocket maximum, and that is not the case today. So because we are proposing those changes, we are again calling it our enhanced PPO plan. So that's one program or one plan that we're recommending. The second plan that we're recommending is the plan to the right of the enhanced PPO plan, and that's the high deductible health plan. And so we've had some discussion about that health plan, and I think Diana described it in a way that that helped me to understand it, I think, better than I had, I think, initially when I heard about the high deductible health plan. And she described it as sort of the traditional plan that many of us had many years ago. Before I came to work for the county 20-plus years ago, I was covered on a medical plan where I had a $250 deductible, and all services were subject to that deductible. My office visits, my prescription copays, or not copays, but my prescription charges. So I had to spend $250 out of my pocket before my plan would pay, and then my plan would provide 80% coverage, and then I was responsible for 20%. With this high deductible health plan, if you can think about it that way, the obvious exception being the deductibles are much greater than $250. So the high deductible health plan, we're recommending a deductible of $1,500 per individual, and $1,500 per individual, $3,000 per family. And again, services, office visit copays, prescription, or what we think of as office visit copays, but office visits, prescription charges, emergency room charges, all of those will, again, the employee will have to meet those charges. They will count against their deductible. And then the plan will pay 90%, and then the employee then will be responsible for 10%. Now, what you don't see on this chart, and what I think is critical when we communicate this program, if the court approves it, to our employees, is that, again, I mentioned this high deductible health plan actually has sitting right beside it what we call a health savings account. And a health savings account is really just a tool that employees can use to save money to help them cover, for example, the $1,500 deductible, the 10% coinsurance. Some things that are really critical and unique to the health savings account is that unlike the flexible spending account, balances in the health savings account can be rolled from year to year. So it truly is a savings tool. It's a savings mechanism. Those of us, and all of us actually, have monies in our flexible spending account, and we're all familiar with the term use it or lose it, right? And so what that means for many of us is that we're in a mad rush as the calendar year comes to an end to go out and spend those monies because we don't want to lose them. With a health savings account, no such provision exists. So employees can actually roll their deposits, their monies from year to year. So again, thus the term a savings account. So we're encouraging employees to save their money. What else is unique about this plan is that the account, the health savings account, belongs to the employee. So when the employee leaves county service, this money goes with the employee. And it's not county money, it's the employee's money, so it's portable. Because these monies belong to the employee, sort of the concept is that employees become more engaged, more motivated to seek out health care at a competitive cost, because obviously the less employee pays for those services, the more money that they can save and roll from year to year. Another interesting characteristic of the HSA is that employees can actually invest the money because, again, it's their money. And so if the court approves these programs for next year, United Healthcare will be the vendor that will help our employees to invest their monies if they so choose to invest their monies. And then the final thing I'll say about the health savings account, which I think is, I don't know that this exists anyplace else, but these health savings accounts have what we call a triple tax advantage, which means that the contributions that go into the account, whether the contributions are from the employee or the employer, are tax-free. So money goes in tax-free, the money grows tax-free, and as long as the employee withdraws the money for eligible medical expenses, they can withdraw the money tax-free. So to my knowledge, there's not another tool like this that exists. So that, to me, is very exciting. As I mentioned, the PEC Governing Board met a few weeks ago, and it's the unanimous recommendation of the Governing Board that, again, these plans, the enhanced PPO, the high deductible health plan with the health savings account, be the plans that we offer to our active employees in 2014. So why would we want to change at this point? Do we need to change at this point? Those were questions, 2 questions among many questions that have come up time and time again. I think as all of us have sort of grappled with these programs for 2014. A couple of things that the court should know and the audience should know is that these account-based health plans have been shown to better control costs and specifically have been shown to lower costs by as much as 5 to 7% lower than what we see with traditional plans. Also increasing the employee's responsibility, the employee's engagement, means that the employee has more skin in the game. And so the employee then is more motivated, again, to seek out competitive health care. And then the final reason, and we've had quite a bit of discussion about this, is that looming large in 2018 is the excise tax. And the excise tax is a tax that will be levied under health care reform. We don't have a choice about it. We don't get to waive it because we don't like it. It's looming, and it will be present in 2014 or 2018. The excise tax is a 40% tax for those plans that exceed a specific threshold value. And today, our EPO plan is at great risk for putting us in the county in a position to pay the excise tax. Our consultants have looked at this and are estimating that without a change in 2018, Tarrant County can expect to pay conservatively a tax bill of $4.5 million in excise tax. So with that being said, the audience may say, you may say, well, we understand the consequences, but we still are having a lot of trouble with these deductibles. How is an employee, why should an employee, how is an employee going to come up with $1,500 for the individual deductible? Well, I have 3 suggestions. One, we've had some discussion about an employer seed, meaning Tarrant County could actually seed or contribute money to these health savings accounts to help employees meet those deductibles. On your Exhibit A, and for the court members, your copy hopefully will have a green column, HSA seed money. We're not recommending any level of seed money today. We simply have provided this information to you as just an example of something that the court might consider at some point. So if there were, for example, a $500 seed or a contribution from the county, that would be $500 of the $1,500 that an individual would need to meet that $1,500 deductible. The plan is to come back to the court again if the courts wish to move forward with these plans in 2014, and to actually provide you with a recommendation of various levels of seed money, if the court wishes to consider that. So that's one way that we might help employees meet that deductible. A second way is that the account-based health plans, traditionally the premiums are significantly less than what employees pay, for example, today for EPO and PPO coverage. And so those premium savings then, again, could help employees because they'll be pocketing savings from the premiums, and then those monies could be used to help, those savings could be used to meet those deductibles. And then finally, of course, employees can certainly contribute to health savings accounts themselves, just as they do today with flexible spending accounts. And so what then, if all of that is said, and we still have, and I suspect that we will, have employees who simply are not comfortable with the high deductible health plan. They see it as too risky, they may not understand it, then the answer is we would have still the enhanced PPO plan as an option for those employees. So what we're asking the court today, and we are asking for action today, if you'll go back to your court communique, there are 5 items listed. We're asking the court to approve the enhanced PPO plan for 2014. Number 2, we're asking the court to replace the EPO with the account-based health plan, again, which is the high deductible health plan with the HSA that will sit right beside it. Number 3, we're asking the court to designate UHC as the qualified trustee of our health savings accounts at the rates reflected in your court communique. Number 4, we're asking the court to offer what we call a limited purpose flexible spending account for those employees who might select the account-based health plan. The limited purpose flex account would allow reimbursement of dental expenses, vision expenses, and medical expenses in excess of the high deductible health plan deductible. Maybe I said that twice. And then finally, number 5, we would ask the court's approval to maintain what we call just the general purpose or the flexible spending accounts that we're all accustomed to and know today for those employees who would enroll in the PPO or the enhanced PPO plan, as well as opt-outs. So that's the action that we're asking for today. Obviously, we'll take questions. Ms. Konjovic is back today If the court has questions for us, Mr. Manius has been intimately involved in this process. I'm sure he will answer whatever questions you might have, as well as other staff.
Questions at this time?
The United Healthcare Service fee, who is responsible for that?
Yes, sir. Well, if you look in your court communique, it's item number 3. There's a fee of $1.25 per employee per month. That would be the cost to actually, and it would be a cost to the county to set up the accounts and process claims, much as what happens today with PayFlex and our flexible spending accounts. The $2.50 per employee per month for investment costs, that fee would be paid by those employees who would opt for the investment option. Again, that's completely optional. Employees don't have to invest if they choose not to. If they choose to, they will pay the $2.50 per employee per month.
If they choose not to, where does the money sit? In a money market account or what?
The money in your account?
It sits in the bank account. It would be just a nominal interest amount, but it would not be invested. 100%
And then the final fee, the $3 per employee, and we left out per employee per month, but it's per employee per month. If there's less than $500 in the account, then that would be borne by the employee as well.
$3 per month?
$3 per month.
For balances less than $500.
500.
That seems like a lot of money for something that's just sitting there. Okay.
My guess is if the court opted to cover those costs, could the court do that?
No, this is not the
There is expense. Typically, you don't see people with less than $500 a month.
I guess one of the things that I would, as far as looking at these fees, have we compared these fees to other entities and?
Yes, sir. We did. We had another qualified trustee at PBC, and the fees were much higher than these fees. Typically, with account balances, you have very few that are under $500 a month, and typically they only stay there if they go below that for a very short period of time.
You don't mean under $500 per month, you just mean under $500?
Under $500, yes.
Again, these fees will only apply if the employee decided to choose the investment option, right?
The $250 would.
The $250 or the $3?
The $250.
Right.
Those are two separate rates, Commissioner Webb. The $250, excuse me, Diana.
I want to go, I will probably.
I see it, okay.
Go ahead and go forward. But, we're talking about, if somebody puts in $500, we're talking about 10% of their money going into the form of fees.
Judge, if you wanted to go ahead and approve the $1.25 and the $250 today, I can go back and double-check the $3 and get more information for you in case there is any other option there.
3 times
But the
12, that's 65.
the $2.50 is for accounts that are above 500.
Correct.
If they're below 500, it's $3. So the question is, what does that buy? And what it buys is an investor or someone to assist you in your investments. If you choose to do your own investments, then that fee doesn't exist.
Correct.
That's the $2.50.
Or the $3, depending on what the balance is in the
No,
account.
the $3 applied if the account has less than 500.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if an employee chooses the investment option, that's $2.50. But if they also have the less than 500, that's an additional $3 charge.
No.
Am I?
Not an additional. It would be the $250, and plus, typically you don't see recommendation for investment unless you have at least $1,000 in your account. But if it falls below 500 and you're already paying the $250, you don't pay an additional $3.
Okay.
You pay the $250.
And that's only if you ask for their help with your investments.
If you keep that account and you use their investments, yes.
So what if I just put it in a money market account And that's, I mean, just put it in the bank account and it's the drawing the nominal interest. What are my fees going to be?
0.
Except
long
there's going
as
to be $1.25 for the accounting part of it.
Well, for the employer, there will be $1.25. For the employee, there would be 0, as long as there's at least 500 in the account.
What if the employees decided to move that money into a separate account, not under the management of United Healthcare?
Then there is no charge.
Then there's no charge. And
Correct.
basically, the employee is
They can own their own
directly
account
responsible.
elsewhere if they choose.
Okay.
No, not if there is not a HSA. In other words, an employee can set up an account wherever, so.
It is their, it is, and that's the one thing about the HSA. It is their account. They can set that account up. They can do whatever they want to with that account. That account is totally portable. If they leave, if they don't have to spend it by the end. And that's, one of the things I wanted to emphasize about what you said, the reduction in cost of 5 to 7%. That's not a shifting of costs from us to them.
Right.
What that means is that the employees are, because it is their money now, and they know that if it's not spent, they get to retain it, then there is a lot more questions being asked about, well, can I get this test done someplace else cheaper? Can I use a generic drug versus, a non-generic, whatever, from that standpoint. And
Right.
it really, over time, has basically shown that the employees become much more involved in the management of their health care.
I have one more question regarding that. Let's say there's $10,000 in that HSA. Can the employee move $9,000 to a separate account and keep $1,000 in there? Would that be possible?
I would say yes. Yes.
Okay.
Again, it's the employee's money.
Okay.
Any other questions?
All right. And I'll move for approval.
And I'll second. We have a
That's
motion.
for all 5 of these?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Ms. Brewer.
Public Health has one item for your approval this morning. This is interlocal agreements with the cities of Colleyville, Crowley, Euless, Grapevine, Haslett, Keller, Cannondale, Lakeside, Reno, River Oaks, Saginaw, and Westworth Village for mosquito surveillance services.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Beecher.
Your Honor, the members of the court, we have one item for your consideration this morning. That is a bid award recommendation for RFP 2013-066. This is for mosquito control ground spraying for the Public Health Department. Recommendation will be to award per the contract terms, awarding to a company called Vector Disease Control International.
Are we approving this without knowing what it's going to cost us?
No, sir. The terms, the pricing is based on a square mile basis, $40 per square mile.
Where does that show that on here?
Sir?
Where does that show that on information we received? Doesn't?
No, sir.
I don't believe the price.
Okay.
So we're contracting this out.
Yes, sir. If needed.
Pardon?
If needed.
I thought we were hiring some additional people, buying some trucks.
That's correct. This is just in case this were needed if our ground spraying would not be effective.
And also, it'll allow the municipalities that, with the interlocal agreement that you just approved, it'll allow those municipalities and other municipalities in Tarrant County to buy off this contract.
To buy from this same contract.
But before we spend any money, it'll be brought back to the court?
Oh, yes, sir. I do understand that the pricing per square mile is $7 cheaper than the pricing that Dallas County received. That's right, Chris. $7 per square mile. if needed.
But this is ground spraying only.
Yes, sir.
Well, we're not going to be ground spraying locally, our health department?
Yes, we are going to be ground spraying. In fact, we now have 3 trucks and sprayers. We also have an off-the-road vehicle to spray. If there comes a time when that's not sufficient for us to utilize those, we'll be using those if we need more. This will give us an option to acquire additional resources. Also, what this does, it allows the municipalities in the county that do ground spraying, that if a lot of those municipalities contract for that service, and that'll allow them to buy off this contract also.
So we're not going, let's say, one of these cities, Grapevine, calls and would like some help on that ground spraying. We're not going to offer to spray. We're just going to tell them to call this company.
We know what happened. We've already met, or actually had a teleconference with a large number of cities, and if we can go in with our resources and help the municipalities, we're going to. But if it gets to the extent that it was last year, our resources are not going to be enough to spray in every city. So that's what this is for. This is something simply gives us another option for additional resources if they're needed.
Okay. And the interlocal agreements that we just approved will basically kind of set us up to be able to help out.
Those interlocal agreements were structured to create a cooperative effort between the municipalities and the county. In order for them to buy off this contract, they'll need to have an agreement with purchasing. And Jack, I'm assuming that most of the cities here have that agreement
Yes, sir.
already.
They're already in place.
Yeah.
And maybe I should have asked this question a moment ago. What about the cities that are not on this list of interlocal agreements, like the city of Arlington, for example? Or
We're still going to be bringing additional.
okay, we're still working with those
Yes,
cities.
instead of bringing the interlocals one at a time, we're kind of batching those, and we're working through the process. So you should be seeing additional interlocals. And quite frankly, even if they don't participate in that particular interlocal, if they have a purchasing or a relationship and an agreement with purchasing, they can still buy off this.
And many of the
this
communities
contract.
already have that existing interlocal agreement, which would allow them to buy off of our contracts.
Okay. The mosquito surveillance services.
Right.
Any of them, on any of our contracts.
And the way this one fell out, we've been working on this for quite some time. We didn't know at the time exactly how long it would take us to receive the trucks and/or the sprayers, which already are in-house. So we got the trucks in 2-week time frame, got an excellent delivery from the vendor. The sprayers came out of Illinois. They have been here for about a week and a half. This was already in process when we placed the orders for those vehicles and the sprayers. We want to have something in place. We have access to an aerial spraying contract with the state of Texas if needed, and this was a stopgap measure if we needed it. And
So
probably-
basically, we've purchased additional vehicles to be able to do spraying ourselves, especially for our unincorporated areas, and then to help the cities to the extent that we can. We've got a ground spraying contract now that would allow either us or the cities to buy off of that contract should they need more spraying than what we can handle with our own vehicles.
Exactly.
And then in addition to that, we have the aerial contract with the state, so that if we should decide to do aerial spraying, we can buy off that contract. So all of our contracts are in place that will allow us the flexibility to do either additional ground spraying
Yes, sir.
or aerial spraying.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Do we have no motion at this point?
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may I make a comment real quick as it relates to that item of purchasing? We've been working with purchasing for the last month or so on all of this, everything that's related to the mosquito control program. Purchasing has done an outstanding job for us, and they've really bent over backwards to get the trucks in place, to get the sprayer units in place, to work through all the contracts. And from our office, we really appreciate the efforts that purchasing made on that.
They always do. Thank you.
This vendor is from Arkansas, right?
GK, I just want to be sure that
Right.
that we don't, that when a city calls, we automatically push them off on the vendor? Because, you know, they don't pay less taxes than the people in the unincorporated area. We're all paying the same thing. So let's don't push them automatically.
Commissioner, it was never our intent to do that. We'll make sure that that doesn't.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Skinner.
Members of the court, we have one item for you. We are requesting your approval of an interlocal agreement with the city of Mansfield related to improvements to West Broad Street, and this project is included in the 2006 Transportation Bond Program.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Are there any appointments today?
I have one, Your Honor. I'd like to appoint Steve Townsend to the Sansom Park, TIF number 1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to appoint Steve to the Sansom Park TIF number 1. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Manius?
Thank you, Your Honor. We do not have any items to come before the court at this time.
Okay.
Excuse me, Your Honor. We do have one legislative report, but it's the memo that's in your folder. If you have if you request any information, please let me know.
Okay. Then you have also before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we've got everybody waiting downstairs. Do we have closed? We also have an audience participation.
We have three audience
participations. But I want to suggest that after we hear the audience participation, that we go downstairs, take care of that business, and then come back up and do our executive session so that we can move forward from there. Okay, I have 3 audience participations. I have first Mr. William Keys. Mr. Keys, if you'll come forward. Okay. Okay. Ms. Bolton, would you please come forward and go ahead and give your name and your address?
My name is Geraldine R. Bolton. My address is 5841 River Meadows Place, Fort Worth, 76112. And I would like to thank the court for this opportunity. I am a native of Fort Worth and a retired public school educator with 34 years of service in education in the United States and abroad. I was taken abroad because my military spouse served in Germany and took me with him. I am currently a member of the Tarrant Appraisal Review Board. I am in my 6th year of service, and my concerns are as follows. Members of the Tarrant Appraisal Review Board are reappointed as auxiliary members without cause or selection criteria. And this causes or creates an automatic pay decrease. So we're calling it a demotion. The selection is by recommendation of the ARB chairperson. Members are subjected to personal favoritism and bias by the chairman without due process. I was reappointed as an auxiliary member after completing 2 terms of service, while 3 Anglo male counterparts' status did not change. My status changed to auxiliary without written criteria, evaluation, or explanation. Auxiliary status on Tarrant County ARB eliminates the opportunity to receive equal pay for equal work, yet the Texas Code 6.41D states that an auxiliary member sitting on a panel is considered a regular board member for all purposes related to the conduct of the hearing. We are paid when we sit on a panel to hear protest. Regular members are paid $175 a day. Auxiliary members receive $140 or $150 a day. Auxiliary members are required to attend the same training as regular members, but are paid less for attending the same training. Auxiliary members are paid $125 a day for training. Regular members are paid $150 per day. ARB members are demoted without guidelines, while other members are promoted without selection criteria or specific guidelines. One member, Sandra Fulton, after 3 years of service, was demoted before her 2-year regular member term expired, while Steve Garman, a 1-year member who had been appointed as an auxiliary member for a 2-year appointment, was promoted and appointed as Secretary of ARB, and also received a pay increase from $135 per day to $190 per day. Now, the tax code does allow for 1-year terms and to be reappointed. However, the board of director is required to designate the 1-year term at the beginning of the appointment, not in the middle of the appointment. The unequal pay policy for 2013 creates anger and resentment and contributes to a very toxic work environment at ARB. A review of the recent training tapes will verify the toxic environment that is being projected by the current ARB chairperson. And in closing, as a 6-year member of the ARB panel, there are 2 other members on the panel who are also 6-year members. However, 25 other ARB members are regular members, are eligible to receive pay increases, while I am not eligible for any pay increase or eligible to vote at quorum as an auxiliary member. I would like for these practices to be examined and would just like an answer. How is it that a member who has served successfully is just automatically reduced to a lower member status or appointed as an auxiliary member without any criteria or guideline to support that appointment? Thank you.
Ms. Bolton, you and I had a conversation before court began, and you're aware of the fact that because this was not on our agenda today, that we cannot, as a court, address your concerns. But what we can do, and what we talked about, was I'm going to ask Mr. Manius to get with you after the meeting.
Okay.
And even though the appraisal board is not under our, that we don't appoint, or they're not under our control, I'm going to ask Mr. Manius to see if he can't get answers to the concerns that you raised and either try to reconcile those or to, at a minimum, again, have the board come here and make, or the executive director come here and to respond to some of the questions that you've raised and some of the concerns that you've raised at this point in time. So if you would see Mr. Manius immediately after we adjourn here, I would appreciate it very much. And thank you very much for coming today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Karen Keating.
Your Honor, Ms. Keating had to leave, but she did have a prepared statement.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Are you here? Yes. Then I have your prepared statement. I have your prepared statement.
Just for the record, Judge Whitley, I'm also an appraisal review board member who was demoted along with...
I need you to go ahead and, I'm sorry, give your name and your address.
My name is Karen Keating. I live at 3312 Spring Valley in Bedford. Okay. Judge, your words were very appropriate this morning when you were talking about righting wrongs. The Tarrant Appraisal Board has appointed a chairman to the Appraisal Review Board who on at least 7 occasions violated parts of the American Disability Act. Bullying, threatening, intimidation seem to be the preferred method of communication. I'd like the Commissioners Court just to investigate. I ask you to, if there's a way to right this wrong, we would appreciate it. Hopefully there is a zero tolerance policy toward bullying and violating American Disability Act guidelines and rules. And I would not think that this would be allowed or tolerated in a government work environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being here. Again, we can't openly talk today, but again, I want you to also communicate with Mr. Manius after that, and we will make sure that we talk with them. And Mr. Keys, as I understand, you're not going to speak at this time. You're okay, but it's the same matter. It's the same concerns that these previous 2 speakers have addressed. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mr. Manius, on that, if you would follow up with us and let us know kind of where we go from there, and maybe have them come and make some sort of a presentation to the court.
Great. Thank you.
Anything else at this time?
Not at this time.
Then we'll recess our open meeting and eventually proceed to our closed session and then come back in here after our executive session. Recess our open meeting to proceed to closed session to discuss items exempted under 551.071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code. Resurfacing it for the city of Hurst. Having returned from our closed session, there being no business to conduct at this time, we're adjourned.
Thank you.